We're joined now by Trump campaign senior advisor Mercedes Schlapp. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
So first, I just wanted to get your response to the Supreme Court's decision today on DACA. The president said this morning that he'll just have to start the process over on rescinding DACA. So to be clear, it's the position of the Trump campaign that if the president is reelected, he will again seek to overturn DACA protections, correct?
Well, I think what we know is that for DACA in and of itself, it's not a permanent solution the way it was set up under President Obama administration. And it was really President Trump who, for a long period of time, especially in the beginning part of the administration when they were talking about immigration reform, that he wanted to work with Congress to get this done and ensure that there would be a pathway for the DACA recipients. But that didn't happen because there was a lot of obstruction coming from the left and from the Democrats, which, of course, we saw that they didn't move forward for a permanent solution for the DACA recipients.
All right, and let's turn now to the president's plans to hold his first campaign rally since the pandemic this weekend in Tulsa. We've covered on this broadcast the potential risks, of course, of COVID-19 to protesters out in the streets in recent weeks. But health experts have told us that there's a difference between an outdoor protest and an indoor rally like the one the president is planning. So why would you decide to hold this rally indoors rather than at an outdoor location like an open-air stadium or a park?
Sure. So I think obviously there's safety measures that we need to take in place as well. We are working with the Tulsa officials. We are taking the necessary precautions to ensure the safety of those who are attending the rally. That includes temperature checks. That includes masks, hand sanitizing. So we're doing our best to ensure that the people who are going to be able to come to the rally are safe and we don't have problems with that.
And we know the campaign is going to be handing out masks. You just mentioned that. But will they be encouraged to wear them? I mean, the president has made it clear that he doesn't feel the need to wear a mask in public. So why wouldn't his supporters just follow his example, even if they're given one at the door?
Well, let's remember, I mean, President Trump gets checked for corona regularly. Obviously, he's got his medical doctor on staff, and he's socially distancing. He's not really going to be, near a lot of those individuals who are going to be in the rally. So, yes, we're going to encourage those who are coming to the rally to put on their masks. Look, I think Americans know best what's best for them and for their families, and of course, taking those safe and responsible measures if they will be attending the rally.
If the campaign believes that the rally will be safe, why are attendees required to agree to a legal waiver saying that they won't sue the campaign or anyone involved in organizing the event if they do happen to get sick?
You know, that was a discussion that was had between the campaign and, again, those at the convention center, and they thought that was the best approach in terms of ensuring that there would be a waiver in place.
And as you know, this event had to be pushed back from its original date on Juneteenth, which, of course, commemorates the end of slavery in this country. But given the racial strife in this country at this particular moment, why was Tulsa chosen, given their difficult history of being the site of the greatest act of racial violence there 99 years ago?
Look, I think it's important to understand, and as the president talked to his advisors and many of his black supporters and community leaders who spoke with the president, and it's one of the reasons why the president, out of respect, moved it over to June 20th, is the fact that, you know, at the end of the day, the president's message is that of unity. At the end of the day, the president has been fighting hard, standing strong with the black community. And you can just look at his record to see that. You
said the date was changed. I'm just curious to go back at that again. Was there ever any conversation that, maybe Tulsa's not the right place for this right now, given this moment?
No, I think it's important to understand that obviously Oklahoma is one of the more open states, and it was a moment in time that we thought that it was important to, Tulsa was a good place to be able to have this type of.
Okay, I'm going to move on. Today, Facebook removed an ad from the Trump campaign that featured an inverted red triangle for violating their policy on symbols of organized hate because it resembles one used by Nazis in concentration camps to mark communists and other political opponents. The campaign has said that it's an Antifa symbol, but let me ask you about the message. It reads, dangerous mobs of far-left groups are running through our streets and causing absolute mayhem. They are destroying our cities and rioting. It's absolute madness. Now, there's little evidence that Antifa is actually a significant part of these protests, which have been in both red and blue states, in big cities and small towns, with most of them remaining peaceful. So why is the campaign actively pushing such a divisive message about the protests that a majority of Americans actually support?
Look, the president supports peaceful protests. He believes in the importance of the First Amendment and the ability to peacefully assemble. There's no question. But, I mean, you've seen on the television screens the riots, the looters, those who have destroyed small businesses in these cities where they have been violent, where you've seen the fact that you've had police officers attacked in New York City. Some have ended up in the hospital. You've seen the tragic loss of David Dorn in St. Louis, a police captain. And so there are these rioters, and as we know, Antifa
but they are certainly in the
it.
small minority, though. I mean,
I know, but
fair.
you can't just ignore the small minority. The small minority is really infiltrating and hijacking these peaceful protests, and we've seen the damage that they've caused in these cities. Where we've talked to small business owners who have lost their businesses, who have had to have GoFundMe campaigns to raise money so that they can rebuild their sports bar or their restaurant, and so it is real. It is impacting these small businesses. Why? Because you've seen Antifa penetrate some of these peaceful protests, and that is outrageous. It's why you saw a U.S. Attorney General Bill Barr declare Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization, and it's why the president has stood strong against Antifa.
And lastly, ABC News is reporting that the Trump campaign is pushing to increase the number of presidential debates this fall and to move them up before early voting. What's the campaign's goal and strategy with that move?
Look, we're ready to debate Joe Biden anytime because we really think that Joe Biden should come out of the basement. I mean, you've seen his own Democrat friends like Governor Terry McAuliffe basically say it's probably better for Joe Biden to stay in the basement because they're scared. They are concerned that when Joe Biden continues to speak in public, that we'll still continue to see the Joe Biden gaffes, the inability of Joe Biden to finish interviews in complete sentences, and it's problematic for them, and they're aware of it. And so their goal is less of Joe Biden is better. And what we want is to ensure that the American people know about this career politician who has basically done very little in Washington, D.C. to be an agent of change, and compare that to President Trump, who works with both Democrats and Republicans to get the job done, to make sure that we are rebuilding our economy in a strong position and ensure that American families and workers can prosper.
Trump campaign senior advisor Mercedes Schlapp, we thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.